Hey everybody, welcome back to another Whiskey Wednesday here at the Tex Malt Saloon. I'm Jay Charbonnet, one of the local maltsters here. I thought we'd take a look at a really excellent offering from Balcones Distillery. Balcones is a distillery based down in Waco, Texas, that's been around since 2008, making them not only pioneers of the Texas whiskey scene to begin with, but also some of the first pioneers of American single malt. And you've probably heard the term single malt whenever you're looking at things from Scotland or maybe other things like single malt from Japan. And ultimately, what those words mean is that single means that it just comes from one distillery, and malt meaning that it comes entirely from malted barley. So traditionally, Americans have mostly been making bourbons and ryes. And so American single malt is sort of a newer category that shows a lot of promise for a lot of different reasons. One of the main things that's really interesting about it is that there's not exactly super firm laws about what can and cannot be called American single malt quite yet. So this allows for a little bit of leverage and a little bit of leniency on what you can do per se. So, for example, in Scotland, there's very, very strict laws. It has to be aged for 3 years. It has to be aged in oak casks. Has to come from a pot still. In the United States, as of right now, there's not anything that's super firm and set in stone yet. So distilleries have a lot of different things that they can change around, try to sort of play with, come up with new flavors, introducing the terroir of their specific states without being bogged down by a lot of guidelines. So let's take a look at this guy here and pop this guy open and take a look at the color. Taking a look at the color, I would say it's definitely sort of on the light copper side. And this means to me that because it has Texas heat coming into it, that a lot of these flavors are a little bit muted because of it's only been for about 3 years or so. So which is a little bit long for most Texas stuff, but in this case, I think they've done a really good job of blending things to sort of make it a nice uniform flavor and color. So what's interesting about this bottle of Lineage is that their whole series of Lineage stuff is a combination of Scottish malted barley and Texas malted barley. Sort of an old school meets new school sort of way of combining things from the past, but also sort of looking to the future to see what American single malts could be. Let's go ahead and take a nose. Right off the bat, there's just a little bit of light honeyness. But what also really comes through are some really interesting fruit flavor notes. I'm thinking a lot of apple, a lot of pear. You see that with a lot of, sort of Speyside scotches. Think of like Glenfiddich, things like that. But also, what kind of comes through is a little bit of coconut flavors. And what that tells me is that most likely they are using ex bourbon barrels to age this up, sort of the way that they do in Scotland as well. So that's where some of that coconutty flavors sort of come in. All right, let's get on to the taste. The taste is very, very similar to the nose. A lot of nice, sweet vanilla notes. Definitely a lot more fruit kind of comes through there. I would say apricots and peaches. So if you kind of want to put a good mental figure to it, think of like peaches and cream, peach cobbler and ice cream, sort of things like that. All right, if we're going to talk about the finish, we got to have another drink of it. The finish is a little bit of spicy and it sort of lingers, it sort of carries through a little bit more with a lot more of that creaminess, a lot more of those vanilla flavors, and a good, nice size, a bit of maltiness that kind of comes through as well. It's very, very nice, extremely enjoyable. I would say that for the price point, which is around $40, it's absolutely one of the best American single malts on the market. If you are traditionally a bourbon or rye drinker and you're trying to look to try to get into single malts in general, whether it be American or other different countries, I highly recommend this. It is super easy, super approachable, has a little bit of things for everybody. People that like single malts will enjoy this, but people that also like bourbons and ryes will also find this very interesting and something very new to them. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Like I said, thank you so much to Balcones for letting us give this a good review here, and we appreciate it. And you guys have a good one, and I'll have another one.